Hey, what's up everybody? Over here at what I'm gonna call hive number 3. This is the swarm that I rescued about 2 weeks ago, close to 2 weeks ago, from Maysville. And as you can see, they are still ratcheted strapped from me transporting them over to this bee yard. So I have not been in them at all. Judging by the front porch activity over the last 2 weeks, I'd say they are a healthy hive and a true colony with a queen, but I have not been in them. And as you can see, this might be premature, but I already have some 10 frame equipment prepped if they are looking very good, because these were 5 brand new frames or brand new foundation, meaning no wax drawn. So that's something else. 2 weeks in the box from removing them from a tree branch or just like a mess of vines of trees or something. So I'm very curious to see how much foundation they've built in the last 2 weeks, and if it looks good or if it's close enough to good. I've pretty much already made up my mind that I'm going to move them into a 10 frame, because if you haven't watched the last video on hive number 2, I found, because I didn't have a queen excluder on the top box, which is typically a super because I wanted them to build up the colony, the reason I'm pretty much committed to moving hive number 3 into a 10 frame is because I have four queen cells built on medium frames that I need to get basically into a nuke. I'll add a few other frames and let them do their thing over the next few weeks, and hopefully they become a colony. So with all that said, got some work to do. I'm gonna try and move relatively quickly because I don't want those frames out too long, even though the temperature is right. I mean, it is approaching the 80s, so I have no doubt the bees will be able to keep the brood and the queen cells warm. But nonetheless, let's get into hive number 3 and see how they're looking. And you know what? Let's do this. Let's prep everything as if I'm gonna move them, even though I haven't looked at them yet. So we'll get there here in a second. I'm actually going to move the camera over here to give you just a better angle. All right. That should be better. All right, let's get into hive 3. Just because I put it in the 3rd position, and 3 from last year, I'm pretty sure they absconded. It didn't look like they died because I didn't find any dead bees. If you haven't watched that video, the very first visit to the bee yard this year, check that out. Pretty interesting to see a hive that has absolutely no signs of a dead out. Let me get all my stuff ready. They were pretty docile when I rescued them, which most swarms are, but you never know how things are going to go, which is why I have the smoker ready. So here we go, first look in 2 weeks to see what this swarm looks like. It's a pretty good sign, I have no doubt. There's a nice population of bees in here. I'm very curious to see how much wax they've drawn out in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, check out the oh wow, oh man, this is, yeah, they might be ready to go in a 10 frame for sure. Swarms usually come loaded up on wax, not wax, but honey and nectar in their honey stomachs because they're looking for a home. Yeah, check that out. Look at all that nice new wax they built out on these frames. Swarms are absolutely incredible. They're extremely fun to rescue and relocate, and they're fun to just watch the progress they make in such a short period of time. Yeah, I rescued them on May 30th, which I think was a Tuesday. Today's Saturday the 10th, I believe. And good lord. Oh yeah, they're queen right. Look at all that brood. Or pupated larvae, and some of it's actually become capped. So they're queen right. Look at all the eggs. She is making short work of the foundation they built. So now there's five frames. That was I hit the flashlight. There's 5 frames, so I just need to take my time, find the queen for sure. Good Lord, man, this is awesome. This is the outside frame. Hopefully the camera can pick up on this. I'll get as close as possible. But look at all the eggs in the cells. Yeah, they are doing great. Trying to make a decision here. Yeah, they're ready to go. They're ready to go into a 10 frame. So I'm just going to double check each frame thoroughly for the queen. Granted, this is the outside frame. Alright, yeah. And I'll give them some feed tomorrow. I'll give them some 1-to-1, or maybe a little thinner, probably 1-to-1. And I have no doubt they will make short work of the 4 frames in the 10 frame box. I have no doubt they'll draw out the wax on that pretty fast too. That is amazing. I mean, there is, let me double check for the queen because I'm moving kind of fast. But yeah, look at this. Let's go left to right. Look at all the pupated larvae. We got some capped larvae. Get the bees out of the way. Ton of pupated larvae. And it gets smaller and smaller. And then way over here, if you can see that, all those little dots that look like rice, those are eggs. So this colony should blow up real quick, especially giving them more space. Nukes are just, or not nukes, but swarms are just fascinating. All this wax is new. They did not have any wax to work off of, which is not necessarily a good thing, but I guess it could be because it forces them to really start going to work fast. And I have caught swarms in the past to where I put them in a box for about 2 weeks, and no kidding, I came out and they had a ton of swarm cells. So that's just something else to be aware of, really. A swarm can reswarm a lot faster than you may anticipate or think, really. I'm not entirely worried about finding the queen. It would be nice to do so, but I mean, there is pure evidence that they are queen right, judging, or not judging, but based off the amount of eggs, day-old eggs. She's practically filled up every single cell available with an egg. So one more frame to go. This frame has a lot of nectar on this side. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna find her. There's a lot of bees down in the box though, which I have found a queen crawling around on the inside of the box before. Not always, but sometimes. But yeah, I don't see her, which is not very uncommon for the first time you look at a swarm, because they're pretty skittish. All right, I don't want to mess with them too much because they are honestly doing a fantastic job. One too many frames in here. That's why it's so tight. All right, just one last look. Catch her next time. They are, that is just impressive, really. And there's a lot of bees in the box too. Unfortunately, I need this bottom board. So if you don't know this technique, you know, how do you get bees from one box to another? Just do that. Same thing with the bottom board. Alright, there you have it. Let's see. Didn't find the queen. Don't need that stuff. More and more bees. Look at the pollen they're bringing in. A ton of pollen, which is a sign that they have brood. So, the stick keeps coming back. Let's push the bees out of the way so we don't squish them. And since they're drawn to this area where the box was, I'm just going to slide the 10 frame over there. Excluder here, since they've been doing so well. I think some colonies just do well with a reduced entrance. Okay. Yeah, so that does it for that. Let's, so now let's see. Now that I have the bottom board, okay, so here's the bottom board, or I'm sorry, the bottom board from hive number 3 I am using, and this is the first time I've done this before, but I'm going to use this because I have four queen cells. I have 4 queen cells on medium frames. I'll show you here in a second. So I have 3 frames, 3 medium frames with 4 queen cells. And these queen cells are pretty darn mature. Luckily, I have a few medium frames with drawn wax from last year available to complete this 5 frame. And this is the first time I've done this. Also the first time I found queen cells like that on the medium frames and queen cells in the bottom frame, so I just made a split out of these. And they have brood. So that's a split off of hive number 2, which we'll just have to give time and see what happens. Looking for another entrance reducer to prop this up. Guess that's good enough. Let's get them closed up. So hive number 3 is in a 10 frame now, and that's another colony, thanks to some nice folks out of Maysville that called me, because we popped up in Google Maps as I think the 3rd option due to the distance, but the only option that was listed as a honey farm or bee farm instead of an exterminator. So if you're in the area, and I don't charge anything to remove swarms like that because they're so easy to remove, and it gives me another colony. So anyway, that's hive number 3 now. Looking good, looking extremely good, even though I didn't find a queen. And then the few frames from hive number 2 are now in this box here. So anyway, I'll have to get all these labeled up so things aren't too confusing with the naming conventions and everything. And then here's a look at actually it says number 5. That's confusing. They're already in the box now. Darn, I didn't even pay attention to that. This is actually labeled as number 3, the box at least. Anyway, that's a look at the swarm from Maysville. They're doing extremely well. I'll give them some feed off camera tomorrow, top them off, but they're making very short work of all the resources in the area because they drew out all those frames with basically what they were loaded up on and what they've been able to resource from this area. So thanks for watching. That was the swarm rescue from Maysville, which is now hive number 3. All right, that does it for this week. See y'all next time.